years, the Seleucid king Antiochus III has pushed through Syria. Ptolemy IV has gathered an army of natives.
What we will have to do is defeat the opposing army without losing all of our troops. We've got an added problem that the enemy has Indian elephants, I believe, which are pretty gnarly, I have to say, and they tend to terrify my elephants. So I'm going to have to try and stay away from them. But the whole point of Total War is it's a massive, expansive game where you can play really, I suppose, from 2 or 3 different points of view simultaneously. You have the ability to do the campaign, which allows you to conquer the entire world, and also to drop into these small battles, well, I say small, these real-life, lifelike battles, to fight out the game on these smaller stages. Now, the historical battles are all about recreating those moments in history with the same unit complements. The enemy hopefully using very similar tactics and responding to yours in the kind of ways that they would have done for that fight. But the whole point is to be able to see, can you win the battle or lose the battle? Do you change history or not? And everything is down to you. As a general, you can use the same sort of tactics that they used then, or you can try and invent some of your own and see how you get on. You have a general, sometimes you have a couple of different generals. If you lose your generals, troops go into a panic and they will run away. Not good. So everything is about positioning your units, and it's kind of rock, paper, scissors. Some units are better at defeating other types of units and so on, and have weaknesses. Now what we want to try and do is not lose, basically, because I've not been doing too well at Total War today. I've been losing a fair old bit, always a shame. But what we'll do, we'll try and position these guys in quite a long line.
Egyptian infantry.
We're just going to have to try and hold our ground for as long as possible.
Warriors eager for blood. Ready for orders.
Let's see how we get on. I'm really concerned about their elephants, but I'm not too sure there's much we can do about it at the moment. We're just going to have to wait and see. There's one set there and another set there. Those are the Indians. Oh, okay, they're both Indian wall elephants. Okay.
Charioteers ready.
I think we need to send the camel archers. Try and deal with those elephants if we can. Closed down quite quickly here.
Cavalry!
Got quite a lot of cavalry, but of course it's being able to actually make use of them without them being countered very, very easily. That's the problem.
Camel archer!
So if you're new to Total War games, they are quite fantastic, but you do need a fairly beefy PC. This is a PC game, not an Android game. But I thought I would show you, something a little bit different for a change. We do tend to look at a lot of Android stuff, and sometimes it's nice to have a play with some other things. So for this particular historical fight, I'm attempting not to lose, and not doing particularly well already. Oh, the enemy AI can be absolutely brutal. I've got some camel archers there, and they're attempting to deal with those guys. Let's use precision shots if we take a few of them out. I've got a few reserves here.
Chariots awaiting orders.
Let's take the chariots here. Send them over there. And the whole point of this is really to not lose my units, not have them completely trashed by the enemy like is happening. It's all going horribly, horribly wrong. If you happen to have... chariot charge. If you happen to have a beefy PC, this game has just been released this morning. If you're in America, it should be going live anytime around now, I think. I think it's 10 AM your time, PST. Not that I'm overly aware of American time zones or what they really mean for you, but I think that's when it goes live for you guys. Came out this morning in Britain upon Steam as a preload. So if you've got it on Steam and you preloaded, just press the button and you can play instantly. No downloading required if you've already downloaded. We are getting trashed here. This is a really hard fight. I've lost it 4 or 5 times now. I just can't quite seem to crack what I need to do. But If you have any questions about the game, if there's any particular bits of Total War Rome 2 you'd like me to check out, do post in the comments and I'll be happy to take a look. This is a historical battle. The Egyptians versus some guys who are absolutely trashy. It's really, really rather tragic, actually. For the game, this is one element of it, as it were, which is the battle side of things, but there's also the campaign map as well, which takes on a massive open world, I suppose you could call it, where you have the whole map of Europe and Asia, Russia, and you have the ability as the Romans or any historical race to attempt to conquer the map, holding around 140 territories, I think it is, for a total win. Huge, huge, huge game. It could easily take you a year to play through every permutation of every race, and by then they'll probably have released some brand new content in a download for you as well. These Indian elephants are an absolute nightmare. Oh god, we're getting trampled on. Hey, we actually killed some. Hey, actually, they're not that tough once you get them into combat. Must remember that for next time. But yeah, it's all going really, really badly wrong here. I'm afraid I'm going to lose this. If you're a Total War player and you've got any tips for me, do let me know. I have played every Total War game they've ever made, but when a new one comes out, it always takes you a while to get yourself back into the swing of it. Obviously, I've now got no rifles or cannons or anything like that. This is very much the time of Julius Caesar and Rome. So it's spears, chariots, elephants, and swords and shields, but definitely not a right lot of things that go boom. Other than catapults that do fire shot anyway, they're great fun. Spread a bit of panic. So, yeah, only my elephants left. They're about to die.
The smell of the enemy's beasts was too much for our elephants. They've lost their heads and are running amok in confusion.
Horribly, horribly wrong, didn't it? Let's go take a look at some multiplayer, because that's another element of the game that is quite fantastic. So effectively in the multiplayer you can match up with your friends or with people all around the world, and you can fight the battles. Now you can also do the multiplayer campaign map as well, a big long sort of turn-based game interspersed with you know, these close battles recreations. But all in all, I mean, it is a great game, it really is. Not much going on in the multiplayer at the moment, which is a shame. So let's go and go for a custom battle. Carthage. And we'll go with it. Let's see what we get. Like I say, there's a lot of content here, a lot of gameplay, because you're able to jump into either, you know, the long-running campaign that you've been doing, or if you just fancy a quick battle, you can go and do that. You can do a historical battle, or just one of these kind of randomly generated face-offs, I suppose. Not going to bother doing any setup, let's just charge.
Easy sinners trouble my digestion.
Some great dialogue as well with the units and the generals and so on talking to each other. It can make them quite entertaining at times.
Brave Romans to a man.
Let's get some of this heavy weaponry going. Well, as heavy as it gets anyway. Send that cavalry in.
Legionary cavalry.
We are at your command.
Your orders. Praetorian Guard. For glory. Legionary cavalry. Glory to Rome.
I've got war dogs there, so I've unleashed the hounds, Smithers.
Swift riders at your command.
I'm going to try and
The men are wavering.
Oops. Engaged in quite a few locations here.
Our charges are yours to command. Legionary cavalry!
I'm just trying to take out any of their archers that I can.
By your command! Legatus!
A bit closer.
Scorpion! Glory for Rome! Legionary cavalry!
These archers are exposed there.
The men are wavering.
Double time!
Our general is under attack.
Legatus! Orders understood! Quickly now!
Try and disengage him from combat if we can. It's my general.
Our general has fallen.
Oh dear. He's been slaughtered. So now it's just down to the resolve of the rest of my army. Let's hopefully hold their nerve. Some units there that are committed.
The enemy general is dead.
Good, that evens things up a bit.
Ready for duty! Praetorian Guard! Forward!
An entire unit has perished.
Charge!
There's an awful lot of units, models in each unit. You can turn that down in the settings if you need to, but all in all, it's just a stunning, stunning game. So there we go, that's a win. I say, if there's anything you'd like to see from Total War Rome 2, just let me know in the comments and I'll be more than happy to take a look for you. Let's see if we can get a multiplayer game, because the multiplayer is the most fun. No, not looking like it at the moment. See, everybody's getting sucked into the prologue that takes 3 hours, which is why I decided not to bother. I can't do a 3-hour tutorial. I think my head would explode. I'd much rather just sort of play through a game and, you know, work it out on my own kind of thing, than go through all of that. It's just horrific. One of the things that you should do... Oh, let's go jump into that one, shall we, if we can. Ah, get it. One thing that you should do if you've bought the game today is come into your advanced options for your graphics, and in here this is where you can tweak some of the more important settings really for Rome. For instance, shadows on nearly every system, unless you've got something that's just obscene, turning your shadows down will make a big difference to the performance. Shadow, you pay a massive processing cost for rendering shadows. Likewise, water can be worth turning down. Also things like your trees. If you don't need some of these items to make the game look extra pretty, it can be worth turning them down. And the other one to do is unit size. This is the number of models that will appear in each unit. Turning them down means that there's less things on screen to be rendered. As you saw when I did that zoom in a moment ago, you get this quite a large mass of animations and colour and texture and everything like that. It has to be rendered. So turning down those units will just make things a little bit less intense for your PC. This is a Core i7 with 16 gig of RAM running an SSD disk drive, as it were, or drive, and a Radeon 7950, I believe. I always get the exact number wrong on it. No, it's 7900, yes, 7950. With 3 gig of GPU RAM. So, I mean, oh, actually, yes. Let's do this. Load benchmark forest. Go on, let's benchmark. Previously, in previous Total War games, the benchmark was a separate kind of app, as it were. I've not actually run this myself, so let's see what we end up getting. Be interesting. But like I say, Total War does need a really beefy PC to get the best of it. Otherwise, I'm afraid it will be very, very laggy. If you want all of your settings on high, you know, lots of flora and fauna, big unit sizes, you know, you're going to need one of the bigger PCs on the market. Certainly you're going to want the Core i7, you're going to want 16 gig of RAM, you're going to want at least a 660 NVIDIA GPU,
While walking into a trap, Varus,
760 even,
the German will
and at the
betray
very
you.
least the
He will betray
Radeon 7950 that we have running in here. All in all then, you will have a very, very good time with this game. I've had to turn some of my settings down and tweak it a little bit just because I'm streaming to YouTube, and certain effects do cause more of a performance hit when I'm you know, streaming than others. So I'll just tweak them down a little bit, just drop the unit size a little bit and so on. Now what's happening here is the Romans are about to get betrayed by a Gaul, or Scot, to give him you know, his modern definition as it were, and it's all going to go very badly for the Romans, who are going to get really badly smashed about by large flaming boulders. You know, it's a really bad way to start your day with a flaming boulder. Horrendous. If you can just hear something meowing in the background, it's one of my cats. She just loves making a fuss when I'm recording. But yeah, so I mean, as you can see, graphically the game is just superb. There's absolutely no fault in the graphics at all. It's time and again with the Total War series, they kind of set the bar so high for what is possible from rendering anyway, graphics in a game, let alone to do it with so many units on screen, ability to zoom in and everything like that. It really is incredible. So yeah, just achieved 47 frames a second there as an average, but hitting some high 60s through quite a large chunk of it. It was only really to the bottom end that it started falling off. 30 odd frames a second, still not too bad. Like I say, I do have a lot of the settings turned up probably higher than I should if I'm streaming. I've tweaked some of them, I probably need to do a bit more tweaking. A few of the things there could probably be turned down a little bit more, but you know. I'm going to tick that just to see what happens. So, I mean, for instance here, if we turn our settings down to medium, for instance, and so on, but let's not worry about that for now. Let's just go and... by the way, the reason my resolution is 1690 or 1660, whatever it is, rather than 1080 is I've just got this in a window, just so I can keep one eye on my live stream at the same time, just make sure there's nothing glitching away. If you've got any questions, any comments, anything like that, do let me know. We'll trying to get a multiplayer game going, so if you happen to have Total War right now, come and play a multiplayer game with me. I'm Metlock on Steam if you need to add me. It would be great to do a multiplayer game, but I don't think it's going to happen, so let's go and do something historical, shall we? Let's go and do something like Carthago. This one is going to hurt a lot. If you've got any questions, any comments, anything like that, do let me know. Just drop them into the comments on this YouTube video, and I'm keeping one eye on them. Happy to point out anything you are unsure of or anything you'd like to know. Like I say, Androidizen normally streams Android-related stuff, but decided I'm going to start putting a bit more of a mix in. We'll still be doing our Android, don't worry about that, it's not going anywhere. But as new stuff comes out like this, you know, games that are culturally relevant to large numbers of people and just look damn cool, I'm going to start talking about them with you all. We'll start playing them, we'll start discussing, breaking them down, working out why these games are so awesome, and hopefully, you know, maybe some of you will, you know, decide to check them out. I know so many Android gamers and Android players are also PC gamers as well, and so, you know, you guys, you know your games, and you know what games are brilliant on Android, just like I do, but also you have a healthy respect for what the PCs are capable of as well. And I've talked a lot about the convergence between Android and games consoles and portable gaming and so on, but, you know, PC gaming won't be going anywhere, because ultimately it's kind of the daddy system. If you look at the next generation of games consoles, something I've spoken about quite a bit, those are effectively glorified PCs. They are. They're built with using off-the-shelf parts that have then been tweaked. Other than the GPU, which is a custom package that AMD and ATI have put together for Sony and Microsoft, but when you actually look at the parts that are going into the system, then they're pretty much off the shelf. There's not a lot there that is different between, you know, a PC you could build yourself and what you'll be buying in a games console. The difference comes from the software
Carthage
development
had been
kit that's
subjugated
used,
by
the
Rome
programming
since the
APIs
conclusion of the
that are
Second
available for
Punic
graphics
War.
and things like that, and the
For
way
50
the system
years,
is
Carthage paid a
integrated so
crippling
that it's
indemnity
dependable.
and submitted
Games
to
consoles
Roman
don't
authority.
change over their 10-year lifespan. The
By
same parts are used
151
continuously.
BC,
In a
the debt
PC,
was
you've
paid.
kind of got a much wider
However,
field to
Rome
try and
had
hit
her
to
eye on
optimise your game
Carthage's
and get it working
territory,
well,
and
which is why there's
excuses
so
were found
few
to
great
resume
PC games
hostilities.
developers out there anymore. It just takes so
Carthage
much
found
effort.
itself under
The guys that created Ensemble
but
are
resisted
probably
Rome's
among some of the
attacks
last
for 2 years.
PC-only development houses.
In 147
and it
BC,
shows the care
Rome
and
sent the
attention to
popular
detail
young
with this
commander,
game is just
Scipio
astounding.
Aemilianus,
And
to
they're
end
British,
the
by
war
the way,
once and
based
for
in
all.
Cambridge, which is another good reason for us to be talking about them. It's always good to talk about and
attack
support
begins.
homegrown talent, and these guys are some of the most
Carthage
talented
falls
people around. Now, what we're going to do here, we're going to send my fleet of ships. One thing they've changed in the Total War games now is land and naval battles happen simultaneously. So these are not just my naval ships, but they're also my troop carriers as well. And so I can choose how I want to commit them to the battle. I can either use them as naval ships, defend against any other ships that might be trying to land their troops or coming to attack me, or I can use them to land the troops and reinforce my position or attack from a flank, which is what I'm going to attempt to do here. Now, what we also have, I think historically I'm actually meant to land here, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to move my troops that are all the way over here in, and we're going to try and take it from 2 positions. In actual fact, I've just changed my mind. I've just had an idea. I'm going to redirect these. I'm going to send them up here, and I'm going to land them in the port. Yeah, we'll land a couple there. That looks like about it. So we'll land a couple of troops there. We'll send the other guys in over here someplace. If you're a Total War veteran, do feel free to give me any tips as I'm playing. I have played a huge number of hours worth of Total War, probably close to 500 hours across all of the games. But you know, when you get a new one that comes out, it always takes a bit of time to find your feet. So if anyone spots anything I'm doing wrong, do let me know. And I'm going to tell these guys to paddle faster. Paddle faster! So damn lazy. Right, I really want these guys over here. The other thing I need to do is I'm going to start pounding on this wall. I'm going to try and break that wall if we can. There's no point in using flammable rounds at this point. They're good for causing panic and setting fire to enemy contraptions, but not much good for knocking a wall down. And the rest of these guys are basically stood waiting at the moment. I need to clear a hole through this wall, and then we can do a bit of damage. And I want to bring this Hastati tower across. I think, are they called Hastati towers? Oh no, that's the troop type. I'm going to bring those guys across, completely ignore them there, and just reinforce against this side here. I did try playing this one the other couple of hours ago, lost quite badly. So these guys are going to bring themselves in, they're going to land. You can see the amazing attention to detail that they've gone to in this game. It really is something else. One of my favourite bits of the new naval combat is being able to choose how you deploy your naval assets, either using them as infantry troops, landing them and getting them into the fight, or alternatively using them as naval assets and doing things like ramming the enemy ships and boarding them, and it's just brilliant. It really is. It's quite sublime actually, the way it works. So here's my guys now disembarking, and you can see they actually jump out. There's not some cheat that they've done here to make this look quick and easy. They've spent time animating all of this and disembarking the ships. It's just so beautifully realistic. So what I really want to do now is I want this capture point so I can turn some of these around and hopefully get some reinforcements in through there if I can. I think I can do it like that anyway. We'll find out in a minute. Basically, as you capture these control points, you can then open up these various forted towers. They then turn to your side, which is what we really want to happen. They're still trundling across there. Ah, cool. Got a hole in that wall at long last. Try and take out the other bit, because last time I got a bit bottlenecked. Alright, how's that coming along? Not quite captured yet. I'll send one unit forward to there, because I really want to stop him getting into this circle if I can. I think it's going to stop the ticker. So, is it mine?
Round Romans all.
Yes, but it didn't flip that tower. That's unfortunate. I see why it is.
Priori.
Spearmen at the ready.
We've still got some naval assets, so no, I haven't. Bearing in mind, my great plan was to try and sneak some units into the back, capture some of these points, then open them up so that I could then get my troops in. It's not really worked out quite like that. Attempt to get some units forward, I think. Siege tower.
That siege tower. Commander.
Send some units that way.
Heavy onagga. Field artillery awaiting orders.
General! Advance at speed!
One of the biggest problems you have is that you've got units sort of spread all across, and you've got to try and keep one eye on everything as you do. So hopefully I'm going to unlock that and let those guys in. Got troops landed here, but I don't believe they've got any way of getting into the city, which is a bit of a problem. Oh cool, they can apparently burn down a gatehouse. Let's do that. Sounds like a smart move to me. And these guys here are going to attempt to capture that, let those guys in through there, reinforce, and we'll see where we go from there. There's one of my elite units. This game, this particular historical battle is pretty heavy duty on graphics, I have to say. So many enemy units plus yours. It's quite heady. I'm not standing around waiting for these guys to sort themselves out. Come on. Okay guys, I saw your comments. I'll certainly do that for you in a minute. We'll have a look at the Sparta campaign and also have a look at some of the Roman unit types as well. There's a lot of different units. There's actually more than you could put in for the Romans anyway, from what I've seen in like the battle roster. There's more units than you can actually put into a single army. Loads and loads and loads of different ones. I was quite impressed as well actually. There's a large number of siege units. I think in comparison to Rome certainly it feels like there's a lot more siege units. And obviously those dogs of war, what a cool idea. And the dogs of war just are brilliant. You just find my dogs of war. There. My dogs of war and their handlers. And yeah, they're very, very good at dissuading the enemy. Let's put it that way. Right, let's get in here. Time to look around. Stack those guys up in there. These guys just get in. Okay. Cool. Back down here. We managed to get that gate open, and apparently these guys are still wailing on that gate, but is it down? No, not just yet. Getting pounded pretty hard. Oh well. May have been a failed strategy, that one. Where are you lot off? Get in there. Oh right, of course it's not actually a gatehouse. Dummy. I think I need to capture this one down here instead. horsemen. That explains it. Right, destroy. Right, now what I'm going to do, because I've got these guys here. I think they've put it up actually. Oh well, never mind. Let's keep going. I'll actually get those guys in there. Let's send them running along this wall, I think. See if we can get them to do something useful. This is a really, really tough battle, this one. There's so many units. The enemy is absolutely stacked out in defence. And they just keep coming, unfortunately. Wave after wave of them. From all over the city. And just when you think you've defeated them all, there's even more of them. Hooray, we're in. In you go, boys. Stack up down there. That's going badly. This whole fight's going badly. But yeah, look at how large the city is. It's absolutely huge. Is that the Acropolis? Absolutely amazing. So much detail. And yeah, my system is struggling a little bit with the size of this map and a huge number of units having to deal with. But yeah, I could. Let's get up there and deal with that siege. Playing merry hell. There's my general. So if you have any questions, anything you'd like to know about Total War Rome 2, just let me know. Drop something into the comments. Do feel free to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. We take a look at Android mainly here, but also all sorts of other things in the future. We're just going to expand the kind of content we do. Anything that is cool and awesome, which Rome Total War certainly fits the bill. Totally awesome would be the phrase I would use. If you're wondering, this is a Core i7 with 16 GB of RAM, an SSD drive, 2 of those in a RAID, and a Radeon 7950 or 9750, whichever the top one is, 9750. Obviously not the absolute best card, but still a pretty beefy one. I think it was around 250 quid. So, you know, not exactly a cheap piece of equipment. I'm also running the graphics here a little bit higher than I should be, really. I could certainly turn them down a little bit and squeeze a better frame rate out, but I've been averaging around sort of 20 frames a second, 25 frames a second through most of this, I think. It's a little bit juddery, but, you know. Let me know if it's actually causing a problem for you guys. I can always turn the settings down. Oh good, we've got those. Let's try and push up. Let's keep going. I'm actually not doing too badly this time, I don't think. Oh god, that's just turned into a huge giant blob in the centre there. Flying wedge, yeah, let's do that. Attempt over there has failed miserably. It did buy my units some time to push up into the city, so may yet work out as a useful strategy. Oh good, those guys aren't dead. Hooray! They've turned out to be the most hardy units I've got. Look at those horses. Let's see if we can cause some trouble. Throw some poison shot down there while I bring my units around a little bit more. think we need to come over there for those. There we go. Really is a remarkable game. This is an historical battle. Historical, should I say. And, you know, everything is set up initially the way it would have been all those years ago, 2,000 years ago or whatever. But then how the actual fight plays out is really up to you. And how you position your troops, how you attack, what you attack, in what order. And, you know, you don't have to follow the historical plan, as it were. You can make it up as you go along, like I'm doing, and attempt to blob your way through the map. I always find in Total War games, no matter how hard you try, at some point everything just ends up in a blob. Ooh.
A counterattack! Close ranks, men!
Yeah, there's another great big blob. But still. Ha! Look at that! That little unit, blimey! Still going, and they've now driven off most of those guys. Not many of them left, but wow, done exceptionally well. Hit the flank. Then we're going to have to try and link up and try, if we can, to finish these guys off. Won't be easy. In a second, I'm just going to grab a drink. Believe it, I go and get a drink, come back and the game's crashed. I'm going to blame the cat. It's all your fault, Tinky. Doesn't look impressed with me accusing her of breaking the game. That's me getting scratched later. So yeah, anyway, we'll leave that historical battle there. I'm reasonably sure historically it didn't crash with an error. Asking you to close the app. But anyway, someone wanted to see the campaign. Whoops. To see the campaign for the Spartans. For Sparta. It is a pretty tough one. Let's just have a look at what our victory conditions are. Complete control of 6 provinces. And I'm just going to turn show AI moves off, otherwise it takes a very long time to start. The thing with Rome is you don't have to play the Romans, you can play any of the major factions from that time, and they'll be adding new factions through download content, and really it just helps the replay element of the game, because there's so much to do and every faction has its own skill set, has its own troop types. Everything is different, and the strategies are different as well, because their weaponry is different. With Roman legions, you can very much kind of just block up and march up the battlefield. For other units, you're going to have, for other factions, you're going to have to move much more quickly, or even try not to engage in combat at all if you can, to skirmish for most of your fight. I spent quite a bit of time playing battles, as it were, as the Gauls, and they have naked warriors, literally just warriors with a loincloth, and you send a load of those running across the battlefield. Very humorous, very, very funny indeed. So here we are, and there's Athenia over there, or Athens as we would call it today, I think. Here are my Spartans.
Commander.
And the way the campaign map works is you don't have to muster your units or raise your units anymore at your province, your cities or your villages. What you now do is you just bring them up from where you are. So you're just clicking on your general, go to recruit units, and then you can recruit your various units. So there's quite a few different ones to get you started, as it were, from the starting ranks. As you progress through the game, you can level up your barracks to muster better troops, and obviously you unlock new troop types as well as the game progresses through the tech tree. So to begin with, let's get some hoplites in there. Assume they're going to not be rubbish, and we'll start the first level of that. Now, whilst a commander is mustering, he can't actually do anything. Your general can't do anything else. So he's stuck in that position. Now, if he gets attacked, I think he gets a penalty, because effectively he's unprepared, he's too busy mustering. And you have different stances available. So you can do the mustering, or you can do ambush, and so on. And there's various bonuses. Everything in this game is about bonuses. So as your general levels up, he gains bonuses. Your army, the general is commanding, can gain an overall bonus as well. There are bonuses available for the provinces. When you have a whole set of the territories in each province, you then get a province bonus you can select. There's so much going on here. And then you've also got the wherever the heck it's gone, the faction as well, which has
accumulated popularity and standing of a character in the Roman world.
That guy for the sake of it.
It gradually increases.
So there we go. Did we kill him? Oh, apparently I get a new general for that. Great. Let's have that.
At your command.
Okay, enter.
Peace is not an easy word. Warriors speak of
I've got
honor
friends
and
who
glory,
are interested in the game. Please send this video on to them, this stream as it were. If you're not already an Androidizen subscriber, do subscribe to us. We have great content all the time, and there's over 500 videos, plenty of live shows as well if you're interested in the difference between Android and games consoles, and gaming on Android and mobile, and just gaming in general and technology. Do subscribe. We'll always be giving you a steady diet of really, really cool content. We've just done one of the first, if not the first, video review of the Chromecast from Google. That's up on our channel now. Well worth checking out if you're interested in what Google's going to be bringing to your TV very shortly in the UK and Europe. At least I hope it's shortly. I'll be really annoyed if it takes them another year to release it. It can only bode badly if we ever get glass. But there you go. So you can see here our campaign map. It's highly detailed, and one of the things they've done is the whole campaign map is modelled into the battle simulation as well. So if you start a battle, say here, then the terrain you see and the placement of everything will be the same in the battle map as it is in the campaign map. And if we started a battle here and then moved half a mile down the road, we would see the landscape change, as in we can look behind us and see where we just had a battle. The landscape would be the same, and that applies to the whole campaign map, which is absolutely massive. 140 territories, I think, but maybe there's a few more there. But it's absolutely huge. And obviously it's going to take you a fair while to bash your way across it. Now, I'm getting impatient, so I really want to get these Spartan warriors into a fight. Unfortunately, the campaign map and the time it takes for your factions to run through their turns is agonisingly slow. It's one of those things where they'd actually made some quite good improvements in the previous games, and now it sort of seems to have gone backwards a little bit. It's now pretty dire.
This panel is used to manually merge armies or fleets in order to assemble the strongest possible force. Click on the unit or ship you wish to move, then click on the tick button to move it from one force to another. It is possible to select several units or ships at a time.
Load this guy up with more units and go and stomp on something. Athens, probably shouldn't, we're all Greek, but if in doubt, assault. Obviously vastly outnumber the enemy here, but he does have allies, which he appears to be throwing at me as well, so this could turn into quite a pitched battle actually. I think I'm probably going to lose this one, but we will see. Okay, let's start deployment.
Javelin men!
Definitely don't have good feelings about this fight actually. I think I'm going to lose horribly. But let's see what happens. I've got no siege equipment. In fact, thinking about it, how the heck am I even going to get into this thing?
Enemy reinforcements approaching.
Okay, we'll have to burn the gatehouse down. Probably should have thought about this one a little bit more and maybe built some siege towers and some catapults and other siege equipment like ladders. But there you go. Always plan ahead if you're about to try and take a big walled city, because otherwise you're going to have to just try and burn your way through a gate. Yay. And you can see the enemy ships coming in there as his reinforcements. If he wanted to, he could divert those round to the side. He could bombard me, for instance, if he just parks them off there and fire at me. Or he can land the troops. If I had enemy ships, he could use those ships. I could use those ships to try and intercept him before landing those troops on that ship. And the naval combat and the ground combat now intertwine. But once you've landed your ships, you can't then reboard them. So it's very much a kind of a strategic choice of how and where you use them. It does make the gameplay so much more interesting. And they've just done a beautiful job. If you see how these guys disembark and the whole way it's animated, the ships coming in, it's just great. To the point where I can watch these guys rather than worry about my troops in. Jump over the side. Brilliant. Unfortunately there it just decided that I couldn't see line of sight with any of my troops, and so it just sort of blended them out for me. The guys are still having a bit of a run. Let's advance time a little bit, I think. And we'll try and burn that gate down. Maybe we'll make it, maybe we won't. If you're wondering why the stream suddenly pauses, it's just because I'm alt-tabbing to have a look at any comments and check that the stream's working okay for YouTube. I probably should just set up another
Our
PC
general
to
is under
monitor it.
attack.
Yeah, I'm too busy playing. And, you know, that means I'm not gaming. So next time I will have another PC set up so I don't have to bother tabbing around all of the time. Come on, let's just get this gate down. Bored now. To start killing things before they completely reinforce themselves. I think the chance of me winning this one is pretty slim. I've completely messed up this attack for all intents and purposes. And we're just going to try and blob our way through this door. But you can see the level of detail and the number of models in a unit are just phenomenal, really. Where's the one down? really trying very hard to burn this door down, are they? Sort of just standing there getting shot. What are you all doing? Well, I think this attack has been completely and utterly foiled by the fact that I don't have any troops who can actually burn the door down. That's unfortunate. Let's just try charging at it, and maybe if we all run at it at once, maybe we'll... I don't know. Yeah, it's not really happening for us, is it? So, not only should you always bring siege equipment, but you should also always bring troops armed with fire. Another very useful thing. So this attack on Athens,
one of our units has used all its ammunition.
Failure. But look how beautiful this map is. It's so expansive. Just looks great. So much detail, and I think, you know, in comparison to
one of our units has used all its ammunition.
Great. In comparison to the previous games, I think the maps are much bigger and certainly much more detailed. I'm still trying to work out if you can actually garrison certain buildings. It sort of looks like some of them you can, but I've not really found anything definite yet. That gate's finally on fire. Yeah, always bring siege equipment with you. Definitely my tip number one. Well and truly on fire. If you're new to Androidizen, please subscribe. Please send this stream to your friends as well if they're interested in Rome Total War. Let's just try and steam into here now. Get this going. Androidizen normally takes a look at Android and related technologies, but we're going to start doing a few other bits and pieces as well, stuff that interests us. And Total War obviously is a big game release, important to a large number of people. A lot of Android users, also PC gamers as well. I always get a lot of feedback from you guys saying how much you enjoy playing a wide variety of games, you know, not just console games but PC games as well. Total War does require a fairly beefy PC to have the graphics running absolutely top notch. Here I've tweaked things down a little bit just to try and improve the frame rate a little bit, but it's still probably a little bit too high considering I'm gaming and streaming from the same system. We're just going to try and completely sweep these guys aside, I think. I think it's just going to turn into a big, huge, blobby melee in the middle. And not for the first time today. It does seem I always have this trouble with Total War where no matter how hard you try, it just ends up as a blob at certain points. Yeah, you guys run that kind of way, you guys run that kind of way, and you know, we'll try and encircle them a little bit. This is the Sparta faction, the Spartans, and it's all about
the enemy have captured the gates
with these guys. Lots of spear units. They tend to be very good warriors, these guys. Let's turn rapid advance on. And really with Total War you're trying to flank your enemy if you can, if you see an opportunity to get a flank into them. Most units can be broken through lowering their morale suitably, and the more flanks of theirs you can open up, the lower their morale tends to go. And you can see here the enemy's trying to flank me, so I'm just going to turn in a couple of units, see if we can convince him not to try. There's a unit levelling up there. He does still have more units in this city, this isn't all of them. He got some reinforcements from over here, and they're probably milling around up here at the moment by one of these capture points. But what we've got going on back here now? Counter charge. To move these units up. Yeah, more enemy units coming in. So I'm going to send these guys round this way. I'm going to see if I can just come round the back here. Will be good, and we'll just try and hold this centre line. doing alright breaking these troops, actually. They're not very well disciplined, these people. Obviously mine are completely psychotic. I'll be quite happy to fight to the last man, I hope. I hope so, anyway. Or at the very least until my general dies and he will run away. If you've got any questions, any comments, any thoughts about Rome Total War, hit the comments on this video. Don't keep them to yourself. We love reading all your comments and responding. I'll take another look at the comments in a moment. But we're playing Rome Total War 2, or Total War Rome 2, depending on which way you look at it. I'd prefer to call it Rome 2 Total War. That's just me. But these are the Spartans, and they are desperately, or Sparta, yeah, Spartans, didn't they? So we're desperately trying to take Athens here. Obviously, who's mostly supposed to be my ally, but you know, in the opening moments, I thought, to heck with it, we're going to attack them. You don't have to. You can do it any which way you like. You can build alliances with them and conquer the world together, or in this case, just try and crush them because they're the nearest enemy to you. Right. So what we're going to try and do now is move up. I'm going to send a couple of units up there to capture that point, and they can then sweep back down. The rest of my guys are going to go up the middle. So I've got another capture point there. Yeah, that's good. Well, the enemy's in pretty much disarray now, just falling back, attempting counterattacks that are going to fail it. So in order to really win the map, we need these capture points. The more of those we hold, the better. There's 3 on the map, and ideally we could do with holding all 3. Let's send a couple more units that way, actually. Drag these guys up. I'm going to leave 1 unit here for now to keep
our enemy have lost a victory point.
Send the other guys that way. Have a bit of a run on them, but where did they come from? His reinforcements. Either those have rallied or in a world of trouble. Right, let's come back here. There's 2 units that way. Still on that capture point. I'll turn these guys around and face them. These guys in. Excellent. Send those in. Okay, taking that capture point as well. I'll just try and get over there now if we can. This fight's going quite well so far. By now I would have expected to be dead because you know, I really did stuff up the opening, no siege equipment, etc., and had to attempt to hack a door down.
Our enemy have lost a victory point.
And then once we got in, things actually improved quite dramatically. So I'm just wondering where the rest of the enemy is actually. That can't be all of them, but we'll see. This capture points you see has tick points there, and the more points I hold, the faster those tick down. If we can get all 3, it'll be the end of him. Attack there. Get these units in. Well, it's definitely ours for losing now.
The enemy fort will soon be ours.
There we go, win. Beautiful. So I'm going to head off now. Hopefully you've enjoyed this look at Rome Total War 2, or Rome 2 Total War, whatever. Do subscribe, do let your friends know about the channel, and stay tuned. We have hundreds and hundreds of videos on the main channel for you to explore, and there'll probably be more Rome Total War games.
I give thanks to Zeus that we have
Let's
such a
Plays over the
commander.
next couple of days as I explore more of it. Hope you've enjoyed this look. flanks of theirs you can open up, the lower their morale tends to go. And you can see here the enemy's trying to flank me, so I'm just going to turn in a couple of units, see if I can convince him not to try. There's a unit levelling up there. He does still have more units in this city. This isn't all of them. He got some reinforcements from over here, and they're probably milling around up here at the moment by one of these capture points. But what we've got going on back here now? Counter charge. To move these units up. Yeah, more enemy units coming in. So I'm going to send these guys round this way. I'm going to see if I can just come round the back here. Would be good, and we'll just try and hold this centre line. Doing alright breaking these troops, actually. They're not very well disciplined, these people. Obviously mine are completely psychotic. I'm quite happy with some reinforcements from over here, the capture points. But what we've got going on back here now? Counter charge. To move these units up. Yeah, more enemy units coming in. So I'm going to send these guys round this way. Complete control of 6 provinces. Certain buildings. It sort of looks like some of them you can, but I'm not